Om Sri Sai Ram. Dear sisters, brothers, it is with a heart filled with gratitude and great humility that I stand here before you. Before I begin, I want to offer my deepest gratitude and a heart filled with thanks to the organizers of this retreat, for the beautiful host who hosted me, and for the amazing arrangements all of you have made to make all our lives and our stay, if you will, so comfortable. So thank you for that amazing sense of service and love. When I was new to this country and I'd come out of Puttaparthi, and I carried with me the wealth of Swami's experiences, I decided to go into a shell. So I stepped out of 94, from 95 to 2001. I don't think you would have heard of me. Nobody heard of me. I just wanted to be, because there was this treasure that we have with Swami that we gained, that touched the deepest core of ourselves. And you as devotees, we as students, we have all experienced this, right? There is a part of us that is so personal with Swami, we cannot even share with our closest and dearest ones. And even if we do, they may not even gauge the amount of depth um, that we have experienced. So I decided to bottle this up and keep it closest to my heart. Like, we have honeymoon pictures. Of course, my honeymoon was in Chitravati River, so that's different, besides the point. But though it was so personal, so private, I decided to keep it with me. But then I came to US, and I happened to meet this wonderful couple, Chitra and Mohan, in New Jersey. And they just invite, just please come just for a couple of bhajans. I said, okay, that's not a problem, just a couple of bhajans, because I like music and I wanted to keep in touch with singing. So their son Sham, a young boy then, we just sat at home and had a bhajans, and they said, why don't you just say a few words about Swami? So this is how Swami pulls you back. And those few words and that little satsang was a small opening to a torrential amount of sharing. It taught me so much in that. I thought I was giving something to people. I thought I was inspiring people. I thought I was the one motivating people, or whatever it was. But every time I walked home after a retreat, every time I still do after a satsang, I go home with so much that I have received. My heart is so filled with lessons that I take home, lessons of humility, lessons of what an amazing personality Swami was and is. I got to see, and I get to see, a different Sai, a different kind of Swami, a cosmic vision of Swami, if you will. So if you would ask me, did you ever get a Vishwarup darshan of Swami? I said, yeah, I will say yes, and I'm still having it. Because every time I sit with somebody and listen to their story, my heart says, is this the Swami that I knew? Is this the Swami and I can see that how little I knew of Swami, how little I wanted to take and treasure with me, but now with sharing and receiving, there is so much more I've got to know of this phenomenal guru that you and I are blessed to be under. And therefore, it is with great humility that I stand here. And whatever is it that I'm going to share today is, some of you might have heard these experiences and stories and lessons time and again. But whatever it is, please take it as one blind man trying to figure out one part of a mighty elephant. You all know the stories of the 6 blind men and the elephant, right? So that's the first disclaimer I always say. Please take it that this is one blind man standing on one corner of an elephant and saying, hey, the elephant is like a pillar. I saw it. I experienced it. This is the elephant. Because he was holding on to the leg of an elephant. So it is only with that I never can claim to even understand an iota of who he was. Then what do I share? I share my inspiration. I share my journey. I'm not here to convert you into Sai devotees. I'm not here to tell you who he was, but I'm here to share with you The lessons, the powerful lessons that I learned at his feet, that continue to guide me even to this day, that empower my life, that enrich my life every moment of every day, that has helped me found a purpose in life, that has helped me sanctify my life. I look forward to each and every day, and I will do so till the last breath, because he is with me as the eternal companion. I have no doubt about it today. I might have doubted it when I left Puttaparthi. I might have doubted it when the storm of, when we came out of Puttaparthi, I was absolutely a naive person. When I was 17, I went to Puttaparthi. I came out of Puttaparthi when I was 33 or 34 years in an ashram. We barely saw televisions. We had a 25-inch television, or 25 was too big then, maybe 21-inch, and a whole auditorium full of boys will be sitting. I'm sure Srikanth and all will remember, we had a Saturday night TV program, and there'd be 500 boys watching a 21-inch screen. That's how desperate we would watch a screen time. But being brought up like that in a very traditional ashram and come out into the world was a learning of every kind. I had to learn how to sit on a dining table and eat. I had to learn how to use fork and spoon. I had to learn how to say hello, good morning instead of Sairam, Sairam. Because in Puttaparthi, when you're angry, you say Sairam. When you're happy, you say Sairam. When you're sad, you say Sairam. You've seen that from all Indias, right? Please move forward, it'll be Sairam, Sairam. Get up and go, it'll be Sairam, Sairam. So the Sairam had so many interpretations. So from that, I had to learn how to say, how to shake hands instead of this, and so much of learning. So there was a time I felt that Swami and me had separated, but then it became, as I came back into sharing, I felt that he was always there with me, always. And that faith and that experience can never leave me. So today, as we celebrate this Sai as the eternal companion, there's this wonderful phase in our lives where we, as this first generation of Sai's devotees, are getting to see the 100th year of Swami's celebration. There'll be other children and other generations who will celebrate the 125th, 150th, 120th, 100 or 200 and 300, but the 100 has a magic, right? So the 100th year, to me, it's not an event on the calendar. Swami has never been an event on a calendar. Swami has been a power, and that 100th year to me would be a beginning of a new phase in life, as it should be in all our lives. 100th year is not just one event and we wait for the 110th and 100. It's a number. But could that be a time that begins a new phase, a new path to forge us forward into newer territories, take up newer challenges, expand the horizons of what we can do bravely, knowing that he is with us. And so when we celebrate Sai as the eternal companion on his 100th year, then if he's going to be your companion, what is it that you cannot achieve in life? What is it that you cannot do in life? It is with that faith and that belief that we need to step forward. All of this I didn't know. I had no clue of all of this 35 years ago, 40 years ago, when I came into Swami's fold. And therefore, let me share with you the gift of the giving hand. Why hand? Because he's my companion. I hold his hand. If this was the eternal Guru, I would have talked to you about his feet. But this is a topic Aparna gave me. The eternal companion. I love it. And so as a companion, he wants us to hold his hand. I want to hold his hand. And therefore, I want to share with you the gift of the giving hand. If there is one word I could take from Swami's life, and somebody would say, can you sum it all in one word? And that word is giving. Giving. So I want to talk to you about the gift of the giving hand. When I came to Swami's fold when I was 17 and into my 18th year, when we go into search for college, I had no idea of Swami, who Swami was. I had no background. I was not raised in a Bal Vikas or a Sai devotee's home. It the reason I went to Swami's college was simply because it was free education. My father was transferred. We were born and raised in Mumbai. My father got transferred to Haryana. I was finishing my 12th grade. And my whole family was, where do we send this guy? I secretly wanted to go to the Pune Institute, Film Institute, because I'm a big fan of Vinod Khanna and Amitabh Bachchan. They were like my heroes. I even had tank tops and thinking, because the Diwar fights and the movies from all of that was so inspiring. And by the way, I did watch them a couple of years ago just to think, what was I thinking when I saw this, right? I wanted to go back and saw what influences my subconscious. And um, so I wanted to go to Film Institute. And by the way, I was realistic about it. Amitabh Bachchan and Vinod Khanna were really tall, handsome guys. So I just wanted to be a comedian because I knew with my height and looks, I could probably survive there. But I was seriously contemplating on that. There was a reason why I wanted to do that, because I was raised in such an orthodox family. Um, and our outings were temples, our night outs were Harikatha Kalakshemams, and I've been, as a child, I've danced with Swami Haridas around on the stage. I've slept on the lap of Pittukuli Murugadas, and all of this, people who would go around Bombay and elsewhere to do satsangs and homes, much like as what I do now. I don't know, some children will be saying, I want to run away from Sundar uncle. But I grew up. Maybe I enjoyed it. I never questioned it as a child. But then, as I entered my teenage, I wanted to find my own roots, and therefore I started asking questions, and I became the black sheep in the family. And since I got no answers, I decided to move away from all of this. I didn't want nothing of this, and so Pune Institute, and that seemed to be a nice thing. A life of glamour, if you will. And not that there's anything wrong in acting or any of that, but at that moment it seemed glamorous, it seemed attractive, it seemed something so different. And then my father got transferred to Haryana, so everybody is looking for a college. Those days, residential colleges were very few. It was either for the very wealthy, which we were not, or for the very intelligent, which I was not. So that is what concerned my parents. Even Yangana, sorry, I throw Tamil here because now I'm coming from Kanchipuram, so that's forming in my head as well. So where do we send this guy? That was a big question. And it so happened that the summer vacations after 12th grade came up, and I met a Sai Datta, photographer in Bombay, in Worli. And he used to paint black and white pictures into color. Those days, color pictures were again for the wealthy. And so he would prepare paint, and then so he needed help, young boys. So I heard there was somebody offering to paint. I love painting. So I said, okay, I'll join. I signed up with him. And he started giving me pictures of Swami. So after a week, I told him, I'm just only painting orange and red. Do you have some landscape that I can paint? And by the way, who is he? And so on. And so he explained to me, this is Sai Baba. He's a spiritual guru. And I said, no, all right, that's good enough for me. But by then, he had known that I'm looking for a college and so on. So he said, you know what? You should go to Puttaparthi. He's going to start a new college. You're looking for a college. Go for it. My first reaction was, no, not again. Not another holy man. Again, it'll be pujas and rituals. And I said, no, I don't want to. I'm not interested. And he said, no, this is your kind of Swami. This is your kind of guru you want. Because I used to tell him, what is wrong in loving everybody? What is this caste and that caste? And, things which is so natural for us to accept now, correct? And he said, so read this. And he gave me Samashavas in Brindavan, the first book. And I read it wanting to find faults with why I don't want this Baba in my life. But I couldn't. It was all Swami's discourses. And every time I read, there was like, service to man is service to God. I was like, yeah, this is what I've been telling. Religion of love. Yes, this is what I've been telling. So I got very curious about who is this who's talking my language, And so I got interested. I wanted to explore, see this place. When I went home and told my parents that this is, I believe there is a um, college being opened by Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Maybe I can go there. And my grandmother threw a tantrum. My father was like, no, 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 no Sai Baba and all that. Only Murugan, Shivan in our family. No, look at him with his hair and all. What do you think? We can't go let you go there. So there was a big uproar in the family. Scared. Almost they said, they didn't say this, but they almost thought maybe Pune Institute is better. Film Institute. What is this? So that brings me to a point for all of us to consider, that the beauty of the uniqueness of this avatar. When Swami declares himself at the age of 14 that he is Sai and he has a mission in life, he's getting into this arena of holy men, correct? And how did holy men look in India? How do they look even to this day? Look at him. Is there any semblance of what the majority, 99.9% of holy men look like? And look at Swami. The beauty of Swami was he never tried to be like someone else. This is who I am. My hairs are curly and it just comes up. So this is why should I take it and tie it because other holy men are tying it. So that uniqueness of Swami stood out. It did ruffle a few feathers, like my fathers and others who were very orthodox, and because he didn't fit into their idea of what a holy man should look like or what a guru should look like, much less an avatar. We should have 4 hands. Where are the 4 hands? Swami would say, if I came with 4 hands, you would put me in a museum and charge money for it. So I came as a human being, just like you. So that celebration of uniqueness is something we all have to perhaps take home, as I take home that. We all have certain strengths, we all have certain weaknesses. Each one of us look different from the other. And I was talking to youngsters a couple of days ago and I said, when was the last time you looked into the mirror and saw the only one person in this universe? So I tell youngsters, you're not lakhon mein ek, you're not 1 in a million. Sorry, bad news. Your mother may have told you, but I'm telling you, you're not 1 in a million. You're not 1 in 10 million. So what's the good news there? You're the only one, right? You're the only one in this universe. When was the last time you looked into the mirror and saw that, oh my God, there is no one like me? Wow. When was the last time we thought, right? We want to be like someone else or fit into somebody else's shoes, or why am I not as short as nobody wants to be short as someone else. Why am I not as tall as so and so? Why am I not as fair and so? Whatever it is, we somewhere we want to be rich as someone else. We want to be strong as someone else. We want to do this as someone else. Somebody else in our subconscious mind is always making us chase something. We are chasing something, right? But since Swami comes in our consciousness, he gives an example of celebrating who you are. Celebrate who you are, just as you are. Then you begin to discover, what is my uniqueness? What is my contribution into this world? It could be different from everybody else, or it could be the same. It doesn't matter. But that was what I saw later on in Swami, and my curiosity gave me to admiration, that uniqueness. Perhaps that caught my eye because I wanted to break away from my family and do something else. And maybe that's what attracted me subconsciously towards Swami, made me lean towards him. I don't know. So the first impression was, don't go to Baba's college, and everybody was upset. But then, as Datta told me, I conveyed this, not in the same conversation, but in a couple of days later, I told him, I believe it's free education. Things changed like this overnight. Like, instantly, they were like, Aprina, then you go and see. Then you go and see. So here, the gift of the giving hand was he gave with love. I didn't know then, but I'm telling you now, that love was not judgmental. Who is the one receiving this? Are they devotees? Are they deserving of my love? Swami had every right to do that, from where he came from where he stood in his magnanimity. But he never once, he gave. He opened the doors to everybody, orthodox people, disbelievers, sick people, anyone who's seeking anything, the door is open, right? Think of it even today when you have scholars who want to study the Advaitic aspect of what Swami presented. You have the hardcore Vahinis. You could spend an entire life researching that and connecting that to the Upanishads and the Vedic texts and drawing parallels and coming up with tremendous insights that Swami summarized in such simple manner. So scholars welcome. The door is open. Somebody says, I don't know all of this. I don't know all these miracles and Sai Baba thing. I just like to serve. Guess what? The door's open. Those who just say, I am not interested in this guest speaker, they just come and talk and go. I'll help devotees there. Welcome, please come. In this beautiful weather, please come and help outside. We'll struggle with the guest speakers inside. So the service doors are open into the same mansion. Everybody comes and meets in the same mansion of Swami. But somebody comes through the door of service, somebody comes here, and then there was this free education. How does Swami draw young boys? Right? Free education. Somebody says, I love singing, I love music, bhajans. And Swami raised the standard of bhajans. Today, all over the world, and especially so in India, singing bhajans, nama sankirtanam, Swami's Sai bhajans have become the standard against which every other bhajan is measured. So look at the way, how many doors to his mansion he opened with love. There was no judgment. And so, in Shiva Puranam in Tamil, there is a Nair Kadaya Kidanda Adiyer Kataye Sindhavana Tattuvane. Means like a dog, a street dog I was, and he picked me up and gave me the love. So he opened that door and accepted me into his fold. The gift of love, the gift of the giving hand, he gave with love. I wanted to join his college. My results came, my 12th grade results came. In those days, there was no entrance exams. It was the first year. So you just go to the principal and say, sir, I want admission. He says, okay, show me your grades. You see your grades, where you want BCom, that is bachelor's in commerce, or bachelor's in arts, or bachelor's in science. You tell him what you want. Depending on your grade, he'll say, okay. It was as simple to walk in. It was a small college then. My father had said, okay, you can go, but you should join Bachelor's of Commerce. That is the most important thing. Why? In my generation, parents already make up your mind. If they decide what you want, right? So he said, I am an accountant in Parley Products. When I retire, you are going to take my job. I have already spoken to the owners. They have said, yes, you do commerce, get graduate, come with me, work with me, get my job. So they're already decided. Because your marks are not good, you're not going to get anywhere else, you get my job. So I said, okay. So bachelor's in commerce I had to get. So I go to the principal with my grades. He says, but you don't have enough to get to commerce. I don't want to tell the grades because if a child is listening, they'll say, but Sundar uncle got low grades. So he said, I'm sorry, you can take bachelor's in arts. For some reason, somehow bachelor's in arts was not appealing. But nevertheless, I couldn't go back and tell my parents I want bachelor's in arts. So I needed bachelor's in commerce. I was new. I didn't know how to impress this principal. I put vibhuti. I did everything. Sai Ram, I told him. I did my very best with all my acting skills, which could have made me very rich in Pune. But he was very adamant. He was very sweet. But he said, I'm sorry, son. Swami's instructions that I'm afraid I cannot give you a bachelor's in commerce. You can come for arts. And that's when, as a new boy, newly discovering Swami, seeing Swami giving darshans and so on. By the way, there was no magical first sight recognition of Swami. There was nothing like that. The first time, my first internal connection with Swami was one of anger and frustration. As a young boy, Amitabh Bachchan again, right? the young angry man. So I said, what is this? I want to come here. I love this place and I'm not getting admission. And so I didn't know how to pray to him. And so I wrote a very nasty, angry letter. It seems people call you God and do this and that. And I'm here. I want to come and join. And looks like I'm not going to get admission. So I'm going to give you this letter and go back to my wherever I want to go and this and that, whatever it is I wrote. So the moment you take this letter, I'm going to cut you off. And I put the letter in my pocket and I sat in the first row, because those days you can decide to go and sit in the first row. You go at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for a 3:30 darshan, you sit in the hot stands, you are right there, because there was no token systems and nothing like that. So I made sure I was right in the front. I made sure I wanted to look into his eye, give the letter. Kya soch rahe ho? Main ja raha hu, type of attitude. I was so angry. Many times when we are at fault, we are seeking somebody to blame, right? We think it's a closure, but it's not. We want to blame somebody. Something bad happens to us. The first thing people do is take Swami's photo. Man, you were the one who caused it. So we need somebody to blame, and I got Swami to blame. But I want to tell you how that hand of love gives. The gift of giving never ceased, right? Swami came for darshan. He finished the lady side. He came to me. I had the envelope sticking out of my hands, looking up. And I just thought Swami will take it and go. At the least expected time is when the magic happens. So he stopped. His fingers were like this. And he put his hand on the envelope. Kya hai? He spoke to me. The first word was kya hai. Someday I'll decipher the inner meaning of those two words. I'm still trying to figure out. The first time he looked into my eyes, kya hai means what is it? And then the moment I heard kya hai, I said, Swami, admission, admission, admission. And then my father's voice, of course, from back inside was saying, BCom, BCom, BCom. So I said, admission, admission, BCom, BCom, Swami, BCom. Because by then the college had started 4 or 5 days, and so I could see there across the sands students were sitting, a few of them. There were only 40, 50 of us then. And so Swami said, BCom, be calm. I revisit the stories again and again, and perhaps you do. But it's like stories of Rama and Krishna. I never get tired of telling them. I never get tired of revisiting them inside, because every time I go to that moment, I'm sure each of you can go back to that moment when Swami entered your lives. That's magical. That's something you want to treasure, right? And then he looked, be calm, be calm. And then he looked at the principal. He did an action like this or something like that and walked away. Darshan got over. I ran to the principal. He said, I told him, did you see what Baba did? Did you see what? He said, yes, yes, I saw. Be calm, be calm. He said, yes, yes, come take whatever you want. That hand, the gift of giving with love never ceased. Never ceased. The beauty of that love just went from one step to the other. I never thought when I joined Swami's college that I'm going to end up staying there for 15 years. We never planned that. It was one day at a time, one revelation at a time, one small thing at a time that slowly I discovered more and more and more, and as I continue today, this infinite guru that you and I adoringly call as Swami. He not only gave with love, he gave with faith. He gave to me, I can speak, and I'm sure he gave knowing that, when I say give with faith, it's like when we do an act, we do because we believe this act will do something. And I saw that with Swami. Every little act of Swami, as the years went by, there was so much faith behind that act. There was never a doubt that this is going to not materialize. Will it happen? Will it not happen? Will somebody like it? Will somebody not like it? It was never like that. It was an act of faith. Many years later, Swami would send two of us, along with engineer Jai Kumar, for those of you know him, in a small jeep, go and check for water. I don't know why he sent me, but I tagged along, and it was a nice experience. Go and see where water is required, and come and give me a report. Swami would sanction a bore well to be dug, because the vision was bring water to villages. So we would go in in the jeep, and then they would go around and see where the bore well can be dug, whether the villagers wanted, who will benefit, and all of that. Come back and give a report to Swami. And when Swami is talking to us, in that four of us, he's giving a vision of water to villages. And I'm thinking, one bore well here, come on. It's just one bore well you're going to go and what is this big vision? But that giving was with the faith that one day it will happen. That was that vision. One small step, but the vision is large. One tree is planted, but you're saving a planet. Somebody might say, what is this one tree going to do? But that's what it is, that one tree at a time, one step at a time, one act with faith at a time helps you build that larger vision. And that was a fantastic thing. As I left Puttaparthi later on, the water project came up in such a magnanimous way. And I thought, oh my gosh, this was started many years ago by Swami. One step, without failing, without doubting whether this will happen. A small little hospital up in the hill, how many years, how many decades that remained small. But the vision was free education, free medicine to everybody, as much as we can. And this is super specialty hospital that came almost 20, 25 years later was a manifestation of that giving with faith. So when we do the little acts, as I learned today, the lessons that I want to share with you, the lessons that I learned from these experiences, every act do with faith. Know that this is the seed is being planted, and the seed will sprout somewhere, somehow. I know it, and therefore I do this act. And that becomes a worthy offering. So Swami gave with faith. He pushed me on stage to speak so many times. He asked me to, when I first performed yoga in front of Swami, and you might ask how or why, it was the inauguration of the hostel, and they were looking for talents. And I said I came from Mumbai, and in Maharashtra I learned that you can climb a rope and you do yoga, and I have learned that. It's called the Rasi Malkam. So can I do that in front of Swami? And so everybody loved that idea. And this today, and I was hoisting the flag and it was stuck. I was thinking, this is like the Rasi Malkam thing. And so that was the first time, a year after I joined college, that I got a chance to do something one-on-one with Swami. In other words, I performed as an individual, and Swami got to see me. Because I had joined Swami's college, and we were 50, 60 of us. Almost everyone was from Swami's old devotees' families, or everybody had amazing stories. Swami knew almost everyone by name. I was not the only one. Maybe one or two like me. I asked for myself, where is my Swami? Why doesn't he ask me my name? How does he know who I am? So everybody is touching his feet. I'm also touching his feet. I'm going with the flow. But my heart was pining for that one-on-one. Where is my guru in this? And then I got that chance. You always get a chance. And I got that chance. I grabbed that chance to offer this yoga on the rope, to attract his attention. And the next morning, Swami comes, and guess what he says? Pillilku nerpistunnava. Are you teaching the boys? Not good boy, keep practicing. Immediately, are you teaching? So this is what it was. He immediately pushed me, prepared me for that. What turned out to be my greatest passion, my purpose in life. But he did that right from beginning, right? He gave me that opportunity. He knew, he put that faith in me that this boy will do it. Let him do it. Like that, he prepared each one of us in ways that we couldn't fathom those days. We couldn't have fathomed that in our lives. We didn't find a I didn't have any other purpose other than being with Swami as the years went by. But he knew there was a bigger purpose he can serve through. So he gave with faith. Every single act of his was he put his faith in us. He put his faith in us. He puts his faith in his devotees. It's not your faith in Swami as much as he puts his faith in you. And it's such a beautiful exchange of energy there, energy of love and devotion, not from our side to Swami, but his devotion to us, his faith in us. I love you. I believe you. I know you can do it. Go out. Why? Not for his name to be spread, so that you can find a chance to live a sanctified life. You can find fulfillment in your life. You know, you can live an empowered life, enriched life by helping yourself, by helping others, because he did that and he knew the joy in doing that. He started teaching us in living that kind of life. So there are so many such beautiful examples of this hand that gifted at every stage. Years went by, a whole decade went by. He gave with joy, the gift of joy. His hand was always giving with joy. There was never a moment of sadness or hesitation in what he gave. It was always a joyous celebration. There was always so much love and joy behind every act of giving. Yesterday, Brother Satyajit was saying about how Swami's face was radiant when he gives. Um, and it was absolutely that way. When festival comes, and I know it was, I think 86 or 87, there was Narayan Seva, and Swami was serving. Swami was physically serving hundreds of people. So first, the Sevadal started serving food. There were thousands of people across in the Shanti, in the ground, lined up, seated, and the volunteers were serving food. But Swami was so restless sitting on the chair. He said, no, they're not. They're probably not serving enough. So he got up, he rolled up his sleeves, and it was a very warm day. But he called a couple of us, and we took the sambar, the tamarind rice and the yogurt rice, curd rice as we call it. We picked it up and we went behind him, and he started serving. He's lifting his robe with one hand, and he's bending down, and he's telling them, Bhagatinandi, Bhagatinandi, eat well, eat well. It was such a touching scene that he was so eager to give. He wanted to give more. He wanted to give. It was a spontaneous thing. It wasn't a showmanship. It wasn't like I have to teach my students how to serve. It was just a very spontaneous act of Swami. The spontaneity was magical, because it was his nature to give, and that you cannot stop him. His armpits were sweating because it's a silk robe, and he was hot, and he was wiping his sweat, but the food was being served. That spirit is magical. That spirit is what made him divine. That spirit is what made us sit at his feet. That spirit is what drew me to him. I began to admire this idea of giving. In that first year, after knowing who I was, the yoga guy who did yoga on the rope, when Swami gave my first interview, he asked me, what do you want? And for me, that curiosity of what does he do in his room? Does he have a TV in his room? Does he have a sofa in his room? Because I'm from Bombay, I told you. We are very street smart, those of us who are from Bombay. I wanted to see it myself. I wanted to know who he was, what his life was inside. Only curiosity. It was not blast. It was not a sense of pride or anything like that. It was purely curiosity, genuine curiosity. Swami said, what do you want? He said, I want to be in your room. He said, Acha, kal se aao. Come from tomorrow. Another lesson I learned there, and something we all need to perhaps, when life presents itself An opportunity presents itself. Go for the best. Don't hesitate. Don't tell yourself, that is there, but who am I to ask? If Swami had said 5 minutes, I'm going to come, think of what he can ask, and I'll grant it. I bet I wouldn't have asked this. I would have said, give me Pad Namaskar. That is good enough. Not that it's anything less. I would have still enjoyed it. My point is that because he caught me in that moment, and I asked what was my deepest desire, expressed my deepest desire, and guess what? Boom, it was accepted. So God gives us a chance to ask for the very best. Then go for it. And so luckily I didn't have a chance to process my desire, but that just happened to find its expression through my mouth. Thank you, Goddess says, at that moment she sat on my tongue. And therefore, Swami said, come from tomorrow. But what happened in the few months that followed was my exposure to Swami directly. I got to see how this master lived. Outside in the bhajan hall, he had a silver throne. He would step out, there was a Mercedes-Benz car. That was what initially started my curiosity. But yahan pe, if he's got a Mercedes-Benz car, then inside what could be the case, right? If he has a silver throne inside, how will it be inside? Wow, outside and inside. But when I went in, what shocked me was an empty room with one single straight back sofa. You and I would call it a chair. We wouldn't even call it a sofa, but a straight back chair. On the one side, there's letters. On one side, there's a trash can to tear those letters. I looked around secretly for a TV. Blank wall. The size of the room, 10 feet by 12 feet maybe. Stone walls. 100-watt bulb on the other side. One ceiling fan. Windows with panels, most of them closed. One small little panel open with a thick mosquito mesh there. Was some little breeze to come in maybe. That wasn't a weekend retreat like this. For those of us who are thinking, what is this cabin? It is so cold, so uncomfortable. We will say, yes, we will do it for Swami. One weekend. Suppose we do 100th birthday of Swami. Let's celebrate 100 years in this campsite. You'll say, oh, good for you. We'll come on the 99th day and spend one day. The point here is, we like the roughness of life. We like the discomfort. We're ready to do anything for Swami. For how long? One weekend, one boot camp, one spiritual camp, one going to Puttaparthi, coming back. Oh, it was such a great adventure. Yes, it's an adventure as long as it's limited in time. But what if you have to do that every day with no sense of comfort, if you will? That is what gave room from curiosity to admiration. I began to admire this person who was so down to earth inside the privacy of his living quarters. So simple, almost to the point of it was austerity. There was austerity in his life. You and I have wardrobes, right? We open our wardrobes and decide, today's a function, what do I wear? Right? I was thinking, should I wear it like this or like this? Right? We all have something. Just imagine Swami's wardrobe. He would open his wardrobe. Today I want to go wild. Let's choose an orange. Birthday. Orange. Just think of that. One color every day, in and out. But he has a wardrobe with beautiful clothes, fantastic saris, great dresses, and other, for whom? To give, not for himself. It was to give. So this was the Swami I saw. He gave with love. We get to hold that hand. We get to hold that hand that gave with faith, knowing that everything I give you, I'm giving it with your faith. I teach you because I know that you will sprout tomorrow. Your inner spirit will be divine. Every word that we hear as Swami's discourses is planted in our subconscious, in our unconscious, with faith. By Him, you and I don't have to worry about faith at all. He has more faith in us, and that's why He drew us into His fold. Like Sister Aparna said, we were chosen because He believes in us. He has faith in us. Like Rama chose Hanuman, He has chosen us. And therefore, let us hold that hand that gives with faith. Let us hold that hand that gives with joy, with celebration. And therefore, let us celebrate not just the 100th birthday of Swami, but let this be a beginning of celebrating our lives, celebrating our uniqueness, celebrating that the fact that we have God in our lives, and allow that celebration to find manifestation in our thoughts, in our words, and in our deeds. Thank you, my dear sisters and brothers, for this opportunity. I look forward as much to spending time with you in this retreat and all of us being basking in this divine umbrella of Swami with this eternal companion that will be with us forever. Sai Ram.